Hey y'all, Dizzlebay. And today we are discussing authority. But as something we should make a regular practice here, whenever we discuss authority of any kind, we should always do a disclaimer at the beginning that we are our own worst authority. Belief in separation, belief in the ego over pure awareness. You don't even have to believe in either one of them, they're both real, just identifying with the ego over awareness. That will always be our worst authority, no matter what. And believe me, that's a big statement coming from someone like me. If y'all know me, I am huge to, since I can't think of a better term right now, going up against external authority. But yes, we are our own worst authority, our own worst enemy when we choose and believe in separation over wholeness, over unity, over consciousness. Okay, that being said, we are moving on to academic authority. Remember the fire that I mentioned yesterday that's inside of me that burns and I just want to like leap out at the academic authorities? Well, I can't. I shouldn't. I mean, it doesn't do anything and it doesn't get anywhere. Not beneficial for anyone. Calmly and simply and rationally pointing out their flaws with a bit of George Carlin thrown in there should be able to get the job done. So, like I said yesterday, no matter what it comes down to, well, here, no matter what it comes down to, we should be questioning authority at all times. It's like this, the 5 P's of authority. The first ones are our parents, teachers, professors. So parents, professors, priests, any religious leader. So parents, professors, priests. And then this one's tricky, but policemen, meaning anybody who's an authoritative figure over you that wields a gun and actual deadly force over you. This one's tricky. We'll touch back on that. But yeah, police officers are 4. And then politicians, meaning like government people that can make it so that those policemen can come and do things. And honestly, real quick, the other one we should mention is the popular, because the popular own our minds too, thinking we want to be just like them or whatever, or that they're better than us, or that we need to be looking up to them. Guys, heroes are bad news. You shouldn't have heroes. That's what I learned. Don't have heroes. They will always let you down. What you should do for heroes is like, we should have people that we genuinely respect and, in a way we maybe look up to in a way, right? But never have a hero. Like that's something I learned. Not saying that you should be your own hero in an egotistical way, but like you should be like something that people can look back to, they can turn to, right? That's what we should always be striving for, and we can learn from others for sure. But having heroes is silly. No offense, it's a bit childish. I learned that the hard way. So yeah, that'd be the popular. So parents, professors, priests, police officers, politicians, and the popular. These are all things we need to be questioning at all times. And I'll touch on the police officers real quick, because that's anybody who wields deadly force over you. And it's like this, police officers in general, just generally speaking, they actually have a tough job. That's my opinion, so and I personally have never had a bad experience with a police officer, so I'll just say that right off the bat too. But I've been around social media enough to see what I've seen, and I can read reports and statistics to know. So what it should be said about people who are sort of like police officers, they have a dangerous job in the sense that people can shoot back at them, and professors and politicians and priests and parents don't normally have that. So, in a way, we got to kind of show these people a bit of different, a sort of respect, in a way. Just an understanding. But we also need to remember that they wield deadly force over us. So that's not either okay, guys, because what it comes down to is that the way this world is run is that if you don't respond to them appropriately, they can tase you, they can physically throw you to the ground, and God forbid, they can shoot you. So that's not okay. This society needs to change. Whether that we be better, act better, so they feel as though they don't need to carry guns around, or whatever, dude. Or they just stop carrying guns around and only take tasers and electric batons or something. I don't know. I'm not here to solve any issue like that. I'm just saying that it's not okay that the ultimate response is deadly force. Like that, there has to be a better way. So these are the 6 authorities we need to be questioning at all times. And I also will mention parents, that like we should have loving and respect for everyone and everything in the sense that they're humans like us, their consciousness too. But like the parents, dude, what it is about parents is that like they mean well, and they're all like and let me just also say that I've studied a lot, so like I've come across like some horrific parents. Like, so for the most part, our parents are, we should be doing our best to forgive them and like, understand where they're coming from. For anybody who has horrific parents like that, please, you got to get professional help and understanding for stuff like that. But yeah, like, in general, our parents are doing the best they can, but this is the thing, guys. They don't know any better, so we need to be questioning them at all times. Like, that was the first one. I questioned my parents. Then I questioned my priests, because I immediately rejected God. Then I rejected my professors, my teachers. I was like, dude, this is stupid, fucking hate school. And the police officers, always weary of anyone who wields physical, especially deadly force over you. That's an immediate red flag. And then the politicians, obviously, these people are fucked. They're greedy and corrupt, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to be better than that, but still they are. And the popular, those people are there to distract us. And yeah, that's my own personal experience and my own personal opinion, so you do you, baby, you do you, but I would highly advise, when it comes to authority, to be very wary of the 6 Ps. They are 6 Ps in a pod. And in today's modern Western world, all 6 of those Ps in the pod have no idea about non-dualistic understanding. For the most part. Some of us are probably born to parents that are nothing like what we're talking about. And some of us probably have gone to college and had professors that are all about shit like this. So I'm not here to dismiss it altogether. I'm just saying, guys, on a collective whole, we need to be wary and we need to be suspicious and we need to be questioning everyone and everything at all times until we find what resonates within us to be true. That's just what I'm getting at. So now let's move on to academic authority. Now, I personally never will dismiss science. Like, I'm not here to argue science. I'm not here to be like, oh, I don't believe in science. Like, that's stupid. That's not okay, in my opinion. It's part of my triangle. It's part of the triangle. For me, physics means all science. That's what that means. It means all science, and essentially all math, too. I'm not here to dispute that stuff, ever. But what I will absolutely say about science is that it's not truth in the sense that it's only the study of the behavior of reality, guys. It's not actual reality. It's just the study of the behavior. Like, in a sense, you and I are reality, and our behavior is, you and I are the person, and our behavior is the description of what we are. You know what I mean? Like, so that's essentially what it is on a universal cosmic scale. And honestly, my understanding of reality is that the laws of physics are actually just consistent rules within a dream. When you come to learn truth doesn't care about, like, old man-made opinions. Again, I'm not here to dismiss science. I'm not. But I'm also not here to just outright dismiss the shit that goes on in Autobiography of a Yogi either. Do you see what I'm trying to say? But that also means that I'll always stay grounded. Because, dude, in Autobiography of a Yogi, he talks about literally manifesting mansions and palaces out of thin air. And that's, like, absurd, you guys. Like, I know it's ridiculous. And, like, Jesus, like, turning fish into whatever, loaves of bread and water into wine. Like, I'm not here to dismiss that shit either, but I'm also not here to get lost in that shit. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, I will always go back to science before I'd ever go into anything like that. Do you see what I'm saying? Because stuff like that you can get lost in, but I'm not here to outright dismiss that shit either, but I will always hang out with science before going over there. But me hanging out with science allows me to also hang out with psychology, which is Carl Jung, which is philosophy, which is Arthur Schopenhauer, and Eastern philosophies, and science is Max Planck and Donald Hoffman and Nima Akarni Hamed and all sorts of people. So just because I hang out over here with the triangle of modern understanding of science and, you know, philosophy and psychology, it doesn't mean that I don't get to, it doesn't mean that I and you and I and whoever, it doesn't mean that we don't get to, like, entertain the ideas of, you know, the mystical things of life. It just means we don't get lost in them. Okay, so now moving on. Science is the study of behavior of reality, not reality in itself. Every scientific theory depends on a few assumptions. Grant me so and said assumption, and I can give to you a hypothetical model of reality. That's all science, guys. All of it. And there's nothing wrong with that because shit like that brought us the technology that we're working with. So it clearly has a point to be made. It's just not the ultimate truth. Again, we're never dismissing science, we're just not thinking it's dogmatic truth and that it's ultimately always right about everything. It's the ultimate final, as might as well be God itself. No, because that's how we get lost today in this modern world. Okay, so now we're on to people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Brian Greene, Brian Cox, Sean Carroll, and the biggest baddie of them all, Roger Penrose. Let me start off by saying that each and every one of these guys are... ineffably smart. They're geniuses. When it comes to the world of representation, they can't be fucked with, okay? These people know what they're talking about. I wouldn't dispute that. What I am challenging is their metaphysical beliefs and the supposed authority that they just wave around and pretend like there's no other option. And honestly, Neil deGrasse Tyson's honestly, guys, just so pig-headed with what he has said about philosophy and science. Like, honestly, dude, Neil should know better. Honestly, with what he said about philosophy and science, honestly, it should ruin, in my opinion, that should ruin his reputation. You shouldn't take, especially him, seriously. You guys, these people, none of these people you should take seriously. They have jobs to maintain, checks to collect, and they are put in front of us to blind us, to distract us, and be like, oh, these people are so much smarter than us. Believe me, we're going to get to Neil. What I've learned, I've lost so much respect for Neil. But I'm going to describe each and every one of these people's purpose, what they're actually paid, in my opinion, what they're paid to be put out in front of us to do. So it's like this. It starts with Brian Greene. Brian Greene is very nice. He's very polite. He's very just open. He's very approachable. He's very kind. He's very understanding. And he's very gentle in his approach and his approachability. So people like Brian Greene were like, oh, wow, this is great. I love this guy. And I do. I couldn't imagine sitting down and having a conversation with Brian Greene. I bet it'd be fantastic. Now, then we move on to people like Brian Cox and Neil deGrasse Tyson, who are also relatable, very charismatic, but they blow our minds. They're always out there like, whoa, dude, this shit is like, they're very charismatic, so they can, like, make us really fall into it, They are the excitation. So Brian Greene welcomes us, Neil deGrasse Tyson and Brian Cox excite us. They're like, whoa, this is great, I love this. And then you get into Sean Carroll. So we've got 3 of them, and there's way more than these guys, but these are the ones we'll stick to. So then we come into someone like Sean Carroll, who's a bit more, we'll say, studious academic, more rigid, more, just... Not to say that he's smarter than the other 3, but he definitely comes off as if he thinks he's smarter than the other 3. And IMO, Sean Carroll, never looks like he's not a deer caught in headlights. Like, the man always looks like a deer caught in headlights, in my opinion. In my opinion, from where I stand, it's almost like he knows what he's saying is bullshit, but he can't. It's like his job. He has to go out there and do it. But still, he's still sort of approachable and sort of related. I don't know how. And for me, he's not. To me, he's like strange as hell. But the other people, they love him. And I don't have anything against him as a person, just like he's the one I literally would watch the least of. And what he says that there are every infinitesimal, my inarticulation. Every infinitesimal fraction of a second, Sean Carroll says that there's an entire different universe being just popped into existence. Pop, pop, pop. You can't even count how fast these universes are coming into existence, because every action we make, every action our cells make, it's just endless universes. Just and honestly, you guys, real quick, I'm sort of like sympathetic to like multiple universes and all that sort of shit, but not for the reason that he says. He says because there's math there, that's what it has to be. And math and stuff. So see, I'm about to throw Sean Carroll's hypothesis right out the window. Because immediately, mathematical and logical truths are not considered empirical evidence, because they are based on reason and defined axioms. And just real quick, if you're like me and you have absolutely no idea what an axiom means, an axiom is a statement or proposition which is regarded as being established, accepted, or self-evidently true. An example is the axiom that supply equals demand. So, mathematical and logical truths are not considered empirical evidence because they are based on reason and defined axioms, those statements we just talked about, that are self-evidently true, supposedly, and not on physical observation or experimentation. So boom, right out the window, his whole like, oh, multiple universes because of this math theory. It's all wrong. It's just garbage, guys. It's just shit that they put out to sell books to warp our minds, to make us think. And again, I'm not saying that there aren't multiple universes, but not for the reasons that he's saying. So Sean Carroll's like one of the final bosses. He's there to like fuck with our minds, and he's definitely incredibly intelligent. But the more intelligent you are, the further away from truth is most likely, because truth isn't about intelligence. Intelligence is a small flashlight upon the entirety of truth. Meaning there's a lot more to life than intelligence, and there's a lot more to life than sex. And then we get to Roger Penrose. Roger Penrose is like he's like one of the greatest scientists of all time. The guy is knighted. The guy is like untouchably, like just untouchable. So to question him means you're just an absolute idiot if you question someone like him. So I guess it takes an absolute idiot because I will totally question that man. I have no issue with that. In one of my first videos, I talked about how Einstein was wrong, so I'm not gonna back down from someone like Roger Penrose either. No ego, just I got nothing better to do and I'm a nobody, so I have nothing to lose. And the reason why I'll question any of these people, guys, is because, like I've said before, just me personally, from my own experience, I'm my own black swan. By every physicalist, materialist standard, I should be dead. And if not dead, I should be at least dying right now, hopelessly addicted, guys. I learned I am not my body, I am not my mind, I am not my desires, and I overcame 10 huge obstacles all by myself with no actual, real professional help. What would any of those 5 or 6 scientists we just mentioned have to say about that? What, that I did a good job? Bro, it's literally mind over matter. This is a mental world, not a physical world. Now on to Neil deGrasse Tyson's huge boo-boo that I lost so much respect for him for, that I never knew this happened. And to me, just again, in my opinion, after learning what I've learned and experienced what I've experienced for my own self, this is just another huge red flag for me that says these people are put out in front of us to distract us, because he said that philosophy shouldn't be involved with scientific work. And that to me is just so, it's repugnant. It's uncrediting, and in my opinion, it's for shame. If I was ever hiring scientists, I would never, ever hire him or anyone who made a statement or things like that. Ever, ever, ever. To me, that's an authority being a gatekeeper saying, stop here. You don't go any further. And if you have psychological, mental, emotional, or spiritual issues, fuck you. You go find some other help somewhere, you big wuss bag. That's what that says to me. What authoritative figure should... That's disgusting, in my opinion. I got so upset. I don't even care. See, even the philosophy of science alone will tell you itself alone that the actual truth of reality cannot be discovered through science alone. And that's the philosophy of science. Dude, him and people like him believe in something called scientism, guys. When you take these people at their words like that, you're literally believing in scientism. No different than Catholicism. You're believing in dogmatic rules. These people are not to be taken any more seriously than you would, like, the Pope. They have prejudices, guys. And I don't have prejudices. I have experience, meaning I understand the materialistic world. That's where I came from and believed in it my entire life. I know it's wrong through my own personal experience. I can only tell you that. I can never make that be your truth. You have to experience it. I can tell you that from my experience, they're wrong as hell. And it's dangerous what they're preaching. See, a modern example is a biologist called Michael Levin, and his research at Tufts University, just this one example alone, is a huge black swan. Do not worry, I will list many other scientists that use philosophy to come to groundbreaking discoveries. So stay with me. Michael Levin's research on bioelectric fields and cellular level cognition is rooted in high-level philosophical discussions and questions about agency, intelligence, and what defines an individual organism. Remember, they're talking about cellular level in the bioelectric fields. And all this evolutionary exploration, all this work suggests that evolution explores what they call a platonic space of potential biological forms. And Plato is all about forms. An example of this that he questions is how cells know what to build in an embryonic development, which goes beyond a purely genetic or materialistic explanation. His experiments included something called synthetic organisms, and they were named like xenobots and anthrobots. And with this research, he proved that cells, both from frogs and humans, possess an inherent and collective intelligence, guys, that allows them to self-organize and perform new tasks without genetic modification. Are you kidding me? Dude, this research demonstrated that cells can be repurposed to create what they called living robots. And just real quick, these living robots refer to tiny self-organizing biological machines built from clusters of living cells. And rather than being made of metal or plastic per se, these robots are entirely organic and rely on the inherent collective intelligence of cells to perform new tasks. And so the xenobots that we talked about earlier, those were created from the heart and skin stem cells of the African clawed frog. And the anthrobots were created from human tracheal cells, so like our windpipe. You guys, so this research demonstrated that those living robots could perform functions such as healing damaged tissue. They suggested that the rules governing biological form and function are more fundamental than previously thought and operate above the level of genes. Or epigenetically, guys, which is metaphysical. Epigenetic, metaphysical. You guys, this is the truth. And epigenetic is something that I know that has to do with Bruce Lipton. That's what he's all about. We'll get into him. He's a medical doctor, super important about cells and stuff that got incredibly discredited. And just real quick, Federico Faggin, the inventor of the microprocessor, knows that materialism and physicalism is bullshit. What does Sean Carroll, Roger Penrose, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Brian Cox, and Brian Greene have to say anything to Federico Faggin? Bro, all these people are out here, like, just creating theories and writing books and stuff. Federico Faggin invented the fucking microprocessor, guys. This whole modern world has nothing but to thank to other than Federico Faggin, not those guys. Well, yeah, of course those guys, but I'm just saying, like, dude, Federico Faggin invented the micro fucking processor, and he knows that materialism is bullshit. But you guys, don't you see how Michael Levin's work alone needed philosophy to understand what was going on? That's not something that just science. Like Neil's like, oh, just stick to the science, stick to the what you see, and you'll get it. It's like, bruh, why don't you not like be so arrogant? Like, I'm arrogant, but I'm a shithead nobody. I don't have PhDs. My excuse is that I'm a drunk. What's your excuse? Like, no offense, immediately disqualified, in my opinion, from meaning any sort of reputable source. He's not a reputable source, in my opinion, anymore. Just real quick, to list other people besides Michael Levin, that people like Neil deGrasse Tyson need to sit down. Aristotle, the effing bedrock of Western philosophical and scientific thought. That began with Aristotle's work on logic. These materialists and physicalists love Aristotle. Einstein, an intense, dedicated reader of philosophy, heavily influenced by people like Kant, Immanuel Kant. We're all about Kant over here. And Einstein's whole thing about the elevator, what would I weigh if I was in a floating elevator or whatever, that's a philosophical question. Niels Bohr, these people love Niels Bohr, and his work on quantum mechanics was in direct need of philosophical contemplation. Charles Darwin and Stephen Jay Gould, these people are obsessed with Darwin. Evolutionary theory is loaded with philosophical implications, guys. And go ahead and try to argue Neil deGrasse Tyson about evolution and Charles Darwin. Well, bruh, it's all philosophy, bruh. Speaking of America and the West, let's not forget about William James, the American father of psychology. The guy was a philosopher and invented an entire school called pragmatism. He was a psychologist, too. Science. God, these people need to take air. Like, dude, seriously. There are leaders, guys. There are academic experts, and we don't know enough to question them. Not enough of us know enough to question them. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not good. And then we end up out here thinking that they actually know exactly what they're talking about, and they don't, because Neil deGrasse Tyson, I just destroyed him. And if I had more time, I could do better. IMO, he's not to be taken seriously, and these other four are to be treaded upon lightly, guys. Believing in them absolutely is no different than believing in an Abrahamic priest or a Buddhist monk just off the bat. Like, it's not okay. As much as I love Buddhism and stuff, it's not okay to just be obedient, in my opinion, to Buddhist monks as it is to be obedient to people like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Nobody knows truth other than you. You need to learn truth. You and I need to become truth. And you and I need to be the change we want to see in this world. We need to learn truth enough so that we can question them and put them on the hot seat and put them in the hot spot. You guys, each and every one of us is our own Carl Jung synchronicity experiment. Each and every one of us is our own observation of physics in the world. And each and every one of us is our own little, as much as I don't like these words, our own little battle against materialism, because I destroyed materialism. My life experience is alone a black swan that I will never shut up about. And not in any ego way, just because it's if I can do it, and I know how shitty and weak and like just much of a wreck I was, if I can do it, anybody can do it, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. Apart to their all materialist and physicalist standard, I should be dead or at least dying addicted. I was so hopeless, guys. Please, hear everyone out, but question everyone and everything. Follow your heart, listen to your gut, have an open mind, carry a moral compass, and be love now. #be love now. Peace!